All right, welcome back to Fleckus Talks, a podcast, episode 164. Today on the show, Congress just passed a new spending bill, which means more money for Ukraine and Israel again. Then, Democrats presented a new abortion ad that's meant to rile up single woman voters, and it's working. Then, in Urban Decay, we have a senseless violence section, followed by a new euphemisms for black criminals section. And last but not least, we debunk this teacher's video that claims that anti-white sentiment is justified. All this and more, it's Fleckus Talks, the podcast, episode 164, ranked the best new podcast of all time.
Because words are just words until action actually starts. And actions speak louder than words. But at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. Very cool. Very cool.
Fleckus Talks, the podcast, featuring Richard Grabwell.
All right, one for one on the intro, as always. Guys, are you like me? Are you constantly called a conspiracy theorist by your friends and family, but you're eventually proven right? Well, let me tell you about the next thing that you should have on your radar, and that's geo-tracking and harmful radiation exposure from our cell phones. But lucky for us, today's sponsor, Silent, has us covered. Guys, we saw the government use geofencing to track the phones of patriots on January 6th, just so they could kick their doors in and have them arrested with no evidence or wrongdoing. We also know that our government and phone companies have hidden the damaging effects of radiation caused by our cell phones. That's why you need to do what you need to do to protect yourself from these harmful situations and countless others by going silent. Silent is a light, portable Faraday pouch that makes you untrackable and your data unstealable, all while blocking the harmful radiation that comes from our cell phones. Make sure your data never ends up in the wrong hands and protect yourself today by going silent. Go to slnt.com/Fleckus for 15% off site-wide, plus free shipping on qualified orders. Guys, as a public figure who pushes back against the bad guys quite often, I am very happy that Silent exists. This is a great asset and tool that we all need, and I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be a lot more popular in the years to come. So be ahead of the curve, be ahead of the wave that's coming, and get your Faraday privacy pouch today. Anyone who sends me a screenshot showing me they ordered will get a follow back on the social media of their choice. Thank you to Silent for sponsoring. Go check them out. slnt.com/Fleckus is the website. Now let's get into housekeeping. All right. Thank you to Silent for sponsoring.
Wow. Thank you, Silent.
Now more than ever, you guys need to be prepared. And Silent helps you do that. All right, guys, we have a packed show. I'm not just saying that. It's one of my favorite scripts we've ever put together.
Yeah, it's packed.
We got it packed. And in housekeeping, I have a page dedicated to whatever I want to talk about. Right. I have my own page of...
I see the files here. Yeah.
I have my own page of housekeeping, and it's going to be great. But we do have to get into some of the important stuff first. First things first, there was a new abortion ad that Gavin Newsom and co. released. Let's take a look at it.
We're almost there. You're going to make it.
Trump Republicans want to criminalize young Alabama women who travel for reproductive care.
Miss, I'm going to need you to step out of the vehicle, take a pregnancy test.
Stop them by taking action at righttotravel.org. Campaign for Democracy Group is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Oh, my God.
Wasn't that crazy?
Piss on the stick, ma'am. And he spits.
And then the girl in the beginning goes, "Don't worry, you're going to make it." Like as if, like...
It's a sci-fi movie and the monster's coming.
Yeah, like make it from what? You're pregnant. Like the baby. You don't tell that to the baby.
I know.
The baby's not going to make it. And in this ad, it's making it seem like if you're pregnant and trying to travel out of Alabama to get an abortion, you'll be arrested. And that's actually not even the case. Mm-hmm. It's only the case for organizations that want to create travel lines of like shuttles, basically.
Yeah, Underground Railroad type shit.
So if you had like a shuttle service that was taking people from a city in Alabama to a state that allows abortions, they're trying to stop that from happening, not the individual, not the pregnant person.
Yeah.
But you watch the ad, you think, oh, this pregnant person is trying to get an abortion and control her own body. She's the one being arrested. Not the case at all. And then a lot of these situations with the abortion stuff, everyone says like, oh, rape and incest.
Mm-hmm.
all the states that are being referred to in this ad have exclusions for rape and incest.
Little caveats, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not even really what they're saying.
Doesn't matter to Democrats, though. And then this is obviously one of those things where it's the main issue that, like, they're trying to say Roe v. Wade is on the ballot again. It's the main driving issue, and it's so crazy to me that it, like you said in the intro, it works. And that's the one thing leftist girls are concerned with. There's like a full-fledged invasion in the country, Haitian cannibals, anybody can come. The economy's kind of doing poorly. And for some reason that is the issue that, like, stop the press, you know?
Yeah.
I will go out and vote for this.
Exactly. So this
Joe
ad...
Biden can be a brain-dead, retarded person. And as long as you put abortion on the ballot, like, it's a single issue, right?
It totally is. And that's why women in the polling are in favor of Joe Biden. Yeah, so obviously this ad is meant to get single-issue voters, women, basically riled up and emotional and getting them excited to vote for Joe Biden. But what they don't say and what the reality is women do feel guilty about abortions, and that's why they have to lean into the rape and incest aspect of it.
Yeah.
Even though 99% of abortions are just because it's inconvenient to the mother, or the mother's not ready, or not financially ready, or there's not a father in the picture. So at this point, the reality is abortion is just being used as another form of birth control.
Yeah.
But you don't want to say that if you're on the left, because it kind of like debunks your whole thing and you're just justifying murders because certain people aren't ready to have kids. So they really lean into the rape and incest stuff. And then they try to make the right look bad and say, oh, you want a girl who got raped to have to carry the child? Like, you're crazy. You're so messed up.
By her alcoholic father who also beats her. And so there's like 6 crimes that happen before she murders a baby, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the reality is, it's like that's not who's getting the abortions.
Yeah.
The vast majority, pretty much every single one, is just because it's inconvenient.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to a medic Sisyphus about this earlier, and he said he went to the grocery store the other day with his daughter, who's like less than a year old, and there was a feminist next to him parking, and the feminist had pink hair and a bumper sticker that said, girls just want fundamental rights. Like, girls just want to have fundamental rights instead of girls just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And he said when he got out of the car and he had his daughter, the girl got out of the car at the same time and kind of like basically jogged away, like went to the store because she felt guilty looking at a baby. So a baby is a pro-abortion person's kryptonite.
Yeah, it is kryptonite. I was going to say, yeah.
Like, this is what you're working so hard to get rid of. This is what you're, like, a huge nightmare you think for girls is. It's like this little innocent baby. It's like the opposite. But they work so hard to kill them for some reason. Let's move on, unless you have anything to add to that.
No, I think they see cute babies in a stroller, and it's like, it's so perfect. And it's like, that could have been, and I'm sure if you have girls just want to have fundamental rights on your bumper sticker, you probably had 2. Yeah. You probably had 2. I don't know. So
exactly, and
haunted by the spirits of the aborted babies.
Exactly, and that's a real thing.
Getting haunted,
just immediately
agreeing, amplifying.
No, but that is a real thing, and like, girls, I think, will realize that when they get abortions to promote their own career and like continue their career after college, they'll soon realize that your job that you thought was so important, it gets kind of redundant. And then in 10 years, when you're doing that same job over and over, and you're kind of like, wait, what am I doing? This sucks. You kind of realize that the other life path, maybe in an inconvenient time, having a child, that actually could have been a better life path long term.
Yeah, and we can show you that on AI. We'll put a baby into your business headshot, and it'll hurt.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on. Ukraine. More money goes to Ukraine. David Sachs had an interesting tweet. Zelensky apparently got visited by the CIA, and they told him, like, yo, dog, you're taking too much money.
You're skimming too much off the top,
You're skimming
Zelensky.
too much off the top.
Yeah.
You and your boys are taking too many billions.
Yeah, Sachs said, according to Seymour Hersh, CIA Director Burns had to warn Zelensky to stop stealing so much money. His subordinates were angry that he wasn't sharing the spoils. Do you think that problem has been resolved and Zelensky will share more this time? And obviously this is probably the... I don't even know, 8th like volume of money to Ukraine, and this was $60 billion for Ukraine, $28 billion for Israel, and a couple extra billion for Taiwan.
A little extra on top for
Taiwan. A little cheese, a little Parmesan. They said, is that enough? The Congress is
more.
Tell me when.
And then there was nothing for our own border in the bill.
Of course, it's a pure foreign aid bill, right?
And here's Congress waving Ukrainian flags and chanting Ukraine, Ukraine. So they're waving the Ukrainian flags. They're cheering for Ukraine, and it obviously makes no sense. So at this point, it's safe to say that the most likely explanation for all this is everyone in Congress and the Senate is being blackmailed for being secretly a pedophile.
Horrible, horrible on-tape blackmail to constantly funnel American dollars out of the country.
It's the only thing that that would make sense, where it's like, why would all these people who are elected to represent their constituents in their districts go against them every single time to help a foreign entity that launders money?
Yeah. And, the more less schizophrenic version would be lobbyists and special interest have so much control over everyone who they help get elect that they basically do whatever they tell them. But I'm kind of leaning more towards you now these days.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy, man. And then obviously the America First segment of Congress doesn't enjoy this. But the same reason the America First segment was not able to elect a speaker that they preferred is the same reason the money keeps flowing to foreign countries.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about this, me and Fleckus. Obviously, progressives, they want to spend a lot of money on different pet projects in America. But don't they not like this too? Isn't there a certain wing of progressives who are tired of this? And I guess our conclusion was like, they still get emotionally manipulated. Mm-hmm. You show them a video of a Ukrainian guy going, Slava Ukraine, they'll fight till the end.
Or girl Ukrainian soldier.
Exactly. Anything, nice little propaganda like that abortion ad we just showed. And they're like, okay, one last ride, right? Mm-hmm. But the right-wing populist side, there is a progressive populist side. They just want to spend a lot of money on Social Security and welfare, different things that would increase our spending by a lot. But they should be pissed about this too, and we need to find two sides of the horseshoe who are pissed about just pissing away money to endless wars.
Yeah,
right?
And what we're revealing now with all of this evidence and all these examples and opportunities for people to choose America First or the Uniparty is the Uniparty is kind of it's easier to expose. Mm-hmm. Like back in the day, the Uniparty could get away with stuff because there wasn't social media, there wasn't Twitter and all these places where you can kind of compare people's track record to what they're actually doing. But now the Uniparty's become so front and center and obvious, and instead of saying, oh man, they're catching on, they're going, well, yeah, now they know, but we're still going to do it.
What are you going to do about it, right?
Exactly. So it's like kind of scary because we're in the what are you going to do about it phase. And for some reason, everyone in America is convinced that we have to hate Russia.
Yeah.
As Muhammad Ali almost said, Russians never called me N-word.
Russia never called me a white supremacist or white privilege or, something like that.
We have an elected official in Congress who is from Ukraine. Can you read out what this says?
Yeah, Ukrainian SSR-born Rep. Victoria Sparts voted no on Ukraine aid today. Last week, her hometown, Chernihiv, was bombarded by Russia, killing over a dozen civilians. So
even the Ukrainians here are voting not for it.
Yeah, too much. And that's the problem, too. It's like, this is endless, right? At the beginning of this whole thing, people like Dan Crenshaw were saying, like, well, we're sending some weapons that we aren't using and to weaken Russia. It's like, isn't that worth it? And Dan Crenshaw would say that. And then now it's like the 10th 60 bill later.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's a little more than just weapons, right? And it's to weaken Russia.
So they don't march through Europe. Russia's not going to march through Europe.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Russia doesn't seem that weak to me. Seems like they're kind of cooking. And then obviously there's the human element of it, which is Ukrainian soldiers and, the men who have already fled Ukraine because they don't want to get involved in some puppet war, right? Mm-hmm. Where they just keep dumping bodies at the front line. It's genuinely sad. We're losing a whole generation. We've said it on the show of Ukrainian men who are just getting fed to the grinder.
Yeah, exactly. But then we have our representatives take it to the stand, and they say that Ukraine's border is our border.
Some say, well, we have to deal with our border first. The Ukrainian-Russian border is our border.
What What do they have videos of you doing, sir?
Yeah, you must have some really torture, dark shit. So this guy, you got to vote this guy out, right? Everybody? Do we all agree on that? Saying dumb shit like this?
Yeah, we should. I don't know what that person is talking about. And then we can kind of move on out of Ukraine. Joe Biden, he impressed me this week.
Okay.
He actually had a video of him talking about importing versus exporting, and he was very smart and lucid.
Well, instead of importing foreign products, I'm exporting their products.
Okay. That puts confidence into the mind of civilians.
Yeah. Hey, as long as abortion's on the ballot, I don't give a shit what he says. I'm a liberal girl, right?
Yeah. And he also got endorsed by the Kennedys this week. Check this out.
My name is Joe Kennedy.
I'm Carrie Kennedy. Troy Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy Townsend.
Chris Kennedy. And I'm here to proudly endorse Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Our future is on the ballot in a way in which we haven't seen in generations.
The only way.
You get the point.
We get the point. I don't even like the Kennedys.
They're losing steam. They're really falling off. And they're all kind of... I don't want to be rude. They're ugly. They're like
all ugly and inbred.
Yeah, remember JFK used to be like handsome, and people were like,
yeah,
he was good on TV, right? It was one of the first elections where the debates were televised and all that. And now everyone kind of looks like a freak, and the best they got is the little redheaded guy who did the State of the Union and had all that shit on his mouth.
Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah,
the rebuttal for the State of the Union. He had the stuff on his lips.
Yeah,
that's
disgusting.
Their best guy. I'm not impressed with the Kennedys at all. I think they're in on it at this point.
Yeah, they saw kind of what happened. Nobody, what do we know about who killed JFK and all that? And they go, all right, we'll fall in line. Yeah. Endorse Joe Biden. He's exporting more products than he probably. Like, of course we'll endorse him.
Yeah, so they're definitely in on it. And they also, back in the day, like promoted Martin Luther King, who was like a controlled opposition type meant to distract from Malcolm X. So they were big in promoting him. And then the guy with the stuff on his face, we already said that.
Yeah, he's got that shit all over his face. You guys saw that. I mean, your State of the Union rebuttal and you have shit on your face?
Indefensible.
I know. You can't make that mistake.
There wasn't one person who just went like,
yeah, hey.
Just go like this.
Yeah.
For 1 second, just go like this.
So his career was done after that.
Yeah. And then I'm not going to be mean, but what's his name? RFK?
Yeah.
His sister has the voice, too.
Yeah, Carrie Kennedy.
My name is Carrie Kennedy, and I am the 7th child of Robert and Ethel Kennedy.
She got the voice.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I mean, that's like a real disorder or something, so we can't really make fun of it. But, God, I don't really want to be hearing you guys, right?
Yeah, well, I would hate to be at a dinner with those two.
I know. What was that? They do it again? One more time?
You used to do what old people do that lose their hearing. You go,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, moving on.
I'm selling the Kennedys.
Yeah, I'm a seller of the Kennedys as well. Speaking of Joe Biden, we have a little bit of a DEI section. Joe Biden admin is suing Sheets.
Yeah, Sheets Inc. discriminated against Black, Native American, and multiracial job seekers by weeding out applicants who the company deemed to have failed a criminal background check, according to U.S. officials.
All right, so it's illegal to prefer to hire non-felons.
Yeah, passing a criminal background check, that's optional. Hey, if it disproportionately affects Black people, you can't do it, right? What's the lesson we always say on the show?
Yeah.
So if they're criminals, doesn't matter. You can't do it, right?
Yeah, and you never see a group like sue on behalf of everyday people. It seems like, and we're going to get to this in a little bit, it seems like it's always the laws are always like enforced when it comes to helping a criminal or a person who's like not doing what's best for society. It's never the upstanding citizen. Like even with Kyle Rittenhouse.
So true. It's always a miscreant, and it's like this guy's down on his luck, and it's like, well, is he a piece of shit or not? Right?
Yeah, exactly. So we have another DEI example. There was almost a crash on the runway for Southwest.
Yeah, at Washington Ronald Reagan National Airport.
Here's the video.
Planes were just seconds from disaster. A JetBlue flight gaining speed and taking off for Boston just as a Southwest plane was cleared to cross in front of it. You can hear the panic as air traffic controllers yell at the pilots to stop.
Ground point JetBlue 652, 26.
Stop. Southwest 2937, stop.
Oh, shit.
Two ladies?
Two Black ladies.
Oh, my God.
Yelling, stop, stop, stop to the airplanes.
Yeah. Southwest, let me ask you, are you on that runway? Yeah. Oh, man. It's a joke, but, 330 souls on board between two aircrafts, and soon it's not going to be very funny.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of DEI, Trump's trial is still heating up. Letitia James, the other Trump trial, she was trying to get Trump to have to pay more than $175 million bond.
Yep.
That got rejected yesterday.
Yep.
Which is good news. Letitia is not really a smart person. We kind of mentioned this before, but she's like a DEI hire who doesn't realize she's like committing treason. So they kind of like, they put her in position of power. This is what we do with a lot of DEI people in the government. They put them in a position of power. They convince them that America is irredeemably racist and they need to do things to reverse these injustices. We saw it with the 2020 election. We see it with all these people prosecuting Trump now in all these trials. Letitia James is now worth also, let me add, $15 million.
Wow.
As a public servant. So she must have had good investments.
Are we playing this?
Yeah. So here's what she says about the Trump trial versus what she's actually said about the Trump trial.
The President of the United States has complained that I'm engaging in some sort of political witch hunt, that I've got some personal vendetta against him, that I campaigned against him. That is not true.
This illegitimate president who sits in the White House. That president, because he's not my president, he's an illegitimate president. His days are numbered. His days are numbered. We've got to get ready to mobilize, and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated. We will all rise up and resist this man, and ultimately we'll bring him down.
There we go. So there's
down.
She's like, I'm not doing this for political reasons. This isn't illegal or whatever. And then here's you yelling in a bullhorn.
Yeah.
At rallies like 20 different times saying that you're going to do whatever you can to take Trump out.
But this now, that's nothing to do with that. I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a meme, a DEI meme about, I guess, a mayor in the situation. It was kind of in line.
You going to make me read this?
You're going to have to read
We is oppressed. You is bad. You be giving us money is shit, or you is racist.
Then the other guy goes, how are you the mayor?
Yeah, that's basically it.
That's basically what we're dealing with.
And notice how it's like Letitia James and certain professionals, right? Like the whole thing for prosecutors is avoiding some sort of conflict of interest or not opinionating, not putting your opinion out there so that it doesn't come back and affect you later and then give somebody grounds for an appeal, right? She throws that all out the window because it's Trump.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. And then the judge, who's kind of in on it too, Ergeron, who's taking those shirtless selfies, remember him? He's just like, this is all good. He can watch this video and nothing will take him off of it.
And Trump's not just some guy. Trump was the president already.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're going to do this, it has to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, then it's illegal.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So Trump's current trial in New York is still underway. The good news is we have a guy.
Our guy is on the books. He's in there.
There's a person, everyone has a little survey they did who's, what's it called, a juror?
Yeah, where the jurors in the Trump hush money trial say they get their news. And a lot of Daily Mail, Facebook, New York Post, New York Times. And then, hold on, what's that?
Truth Social.
One lone juror. Juror number 2. He's our guy.
That's our guy. That's our chance to hold strong. Rapboy made a little meme of him. There he is on the right.
We have him on our picture. There he is going, no, I don't buy it.
So it has to be unanimous. As long as everyone holds strong, who's going to hold strong, meaning the Truth Social guy, we should be all good.
Yeah.
But
waste of everyone's time and taxpayer money once again, shot at Trump, and all we had to do was get one Truth Social guy on there. So, and normally I would be like, oh, maybe that's not right. Maybe we need truly independent people, but nobody's independent in this. Everybody knows Trump. Everybody's been poisoned by the media on Trump. So all you got to do is get one and fight like they fight. And I don't give a shit if this guy's biased or not, because they already kicked off one juror who was trying to who's politically motivated and was like, I'm going to get him, right? Isn't that?
Yeah. So I agree with what you said. It's like, we shouldn't be fair during an unfair thing.
Yeah. I don't give a shit anymore.
Trump needs to get off.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't care how it happens. All right. Moving on. They're trying to get rid of Trump's Secret Service.
Yeah. Rep. Benny Thompson, the former chair of the January 6th Select Committee, has filed legislation that would strip Secret Service protection for anyone sentenced to jail for a felony. And so it's literally just, This is like Sheets. We don't want anybody with a criminal background. And they're like, hey, anybody who's convicted recently won't get Secret Service, right?
Yeah, and they're making it like it's a big deal because it costs so much money or whatever. But Hunter Biden, he gets, what do they do? We said $4.5 million.
They spent more than $4.5 million protecting Hunter Biden while he was living in Malibu, and agents were staying at a $30,000 a month villa. That's a good assignment.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. If you're guarding Hunter, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So they want to get rid of Trump's Secret Service, but that's what they're doing with Hunter Biden. That's weird. Seems like they are trying to get rid of it for a reason.
Oh, they're trying to set Trump up to murder him.
Yeah.
You know, Letitia James, all these people who are trying to get him, and then they might go the JFK route soon. Because
Or maybe the Epstein route if they get him into a jail cell at any point.
God forbid.
Which I hope they don't. Yeah. All right, we have a migrants update section. We're going to go kind of fast through this because it's nothing crazy. Most of the juice this week was Ukraine and the Trump trial.
Yeah.
But Laken Riley's murderer, this is new info, was released before she was killed because they didn't have enough detention space.
Yeah, so this was from Josh Hawley grilling Mayorkas when he had him on the stand, and Homeland Security had released the illegal immigrant accused of killing Laken Riley into the U.S. because it lacked the detention space, according to his confidential immigration file. Jose Ibarra, he was released under Mayorkas's, which is under Alejandro Mayorkas's power of parole, which is supposed to be used in limited cases and only when there is an urgent humanitarian need or a significant benefit to the public. So those are the rules. And this guy, I don't think he was a humanitarian. I don't think he was a upstanding guy who needed to be in the country to help grandmas or something.
Significant benefit to the public.
Yeah. So
opposite, he killed somebody.
And it's just one of those dumb things when you're like, we're out of detention space. What do we do? Just let him in? When did that become the thought process? And it's, again, reiterating our point that this is not like an accident or incompetence. It's just pure evil overwhelming Americans, right?
Exactly. In New York City, we have a new clip. These are all the Haitians that just got here. Look at these guys. Oh, yeah. Nice and diverse. Look at this good diversity we need. Thank you, Haitians. Wow. That's good. We need these guys here.
I know. Who knows what kind of Haitian food they can sell with a D- health rating on their restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. There was a situation in Canada that I thought was very interesting. There's a guy, this guy right here, he talks about how he gets so many benefits from the Canadian government. Maybe play the video first.
This is how I save hundreds of bucks every month in food and groceries. All these groceries for this week I got free. This is for everyone, all the students. They even have hot food at our university. यहाँ पे most of the universities and colleges में food banks होते हैं, which are run by trusts, churches या फिर non-profit organizations. Let me show you what I got this week. You can take as much as you want. सारे basic fruits and vegetables, bread, sauces, pastas and canned vegetables, which is subject to availability. This has been very helpful to me as a student. Check with your seniors or university websites and you'll get the location of the food banks.
So he gets free food from a food bank.
Yeah, he shares the tips to his other Indians who are following him who just got to Canada and can barely speak English, right?
And then we find out later that this guy makes $90K a year.
$98K a year as a bank data scientist for TD Canada. And his position averages $98,000 a year and uploaded this video showing how much free food he gets, right? So we're in an ultimate low trust society where even people who like look or feel like they might help the country or something. We need jobs. We need something to do this. He's immediately like skimming off the top and taking everything he can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which leads me to, I guess this is a point that we missed on the Ukraine thing. But I wanted to talk about this. We just got done with tax season, right? And, you know, Ukraine just gets all the money. We don't have a border bill that doesn't declare amnesty for 5,000 illegals every 2 weeks or whatever the numbers were. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's kind of time to be avoiding as many taxes as you possibly can, finding out little caveats and tricks, writing off things. I think me and Fleckus were discussing just buying shit and then like putting it at the end of the podcast and then just writing it off at the end of the year. Like, oh, I bought this motorcycle. Oh, here it is in the podcast. Vroom.
That's what the mini bikes were.
That's content, right?
Well, you guys remember the mini bikes? Yeah. We showed you that.
Yeah.
We needed that to show you, and that's why we bought them.
And so I think that's a broader point. Like, hey, I'm a landlord, right? Okay, you better be starting another landlord management company that your daughter is an employee of, and then you pay her something and then start contributing to a 401k. It's really not the time to give money to the US government, the Canadian government. They're using it on stupid shit like migrants and, you're driving over a bridge that's 28 years old, right?
Yeah, and it's always weird to me that they collect our taxes, but they print money at the same time. Mm-hmm. That seems like it doesn't make sense.
Of course.
Like how can you do both? And on top of that, people are paying like 50% in taxes, which is means half the time you spend at work is just so you can pay your taxes. So the government controls half your life. It's like a slavery thing.
It is. And if you're in Canada or whatever, where the taxes are even higher, it's kind of like Canada's sort of a leading indicator for the Western Hemisphere a little bit of how bad they would make it if there was no opposition.
And
right?
they're bringing in a ton of Indians. That's their favorite.
Canada seems to have an Indian problem. If you go on some subreddits and you start looking around, people are complaining about hiring and how Indians kind of come and they aren't really qualified for the jobs and they're kind of committing light versions of fraud and they're all coming in on student visas. So something to watch. But yeah, that's their preferred. I don't know why. Why does India come to Canada? I don't get it.
I don't know. It's one last thing on Canada. There was a pro-Hamas, what's it called?
Protest, riot, whatever.
And they were chanting, long live October 7th.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. When I sing from the river to the sea, you reply with Palestine is almost free. Because our resistance attacks are proof that we are almost free. October 7th is proof that we are almost free. Long live October 7th. Long live the resistance. Long live the Intifada.
Long live October 7th.
Wow.
Remember when Canada froze the bank accounts of all the truckers and all the people who gave money to the truckers?
This is fine, though.
You think they're going to track everyone down there and get them all in trouble and freeze their bank accounts?
No, they're going to let them do chain migration and keep bringing in more.
Yeah.
Until Canada is no longer a white majority country and it's under Sharia law.
Yeah, which is coming soon. All right, we are out of the business side of housekeeping, and now we're getting to my personal side of housekeeping. First things first, Chris Pine turning into a lady is back on the table. There's a video of him at Langer's Deli, and here he is wearing a girl's outfit again, looking like a kind of a twink. There he is.
He loves the sweater. The lady sweater.
And those shorts. Look at these shorts. What is he doing? This is at Langer's. I'm more of a Cantor's guy.
Yeah.
If I had to pick.
Yeah, the trade never went away. Some of you guys might have thought the options were trading really low, but it's still on the table.
They ticked back up. I open my account and I go, ooh, I'm up 100% on what? Oh, Chris Pine. All right, second thing second. We're going to go quick.
CPL, Chris Pine lady, CPL.
Oh, I'm up 100% on CPL today. Yeah. Oh, it's not that good because it was at a penny, but it must be ticking back up. There's some implied volatility. All right, second thing second, pregnant Asians.
Yep.
We never really see those. There's one.
Rare.
Saw a pregnant Asian for the first time. That's important. All right, third thing. I tried to watch Fallout the other day. It was pretty interesting. It was going pretty good. And then they introduced this character.
What is that? Giant lizard guy?
Like a giant lizard or something. So the show's over.
That's out.
No need to watch anymore. I'm looking for new shows.
All right.
All right. This is a really quick Paul Wall endorsement. I've been trying to get this on the books. Paul Wall. Happy to endorse him. He's like an older guy with grills, but he's pulling it off. He's classy. From what I'm seeing, I'm really liking Paul Wall.
Yeah, he held up.
He held up, and I'm happy to endorse him.
All right. For what? Anything?
Just
open-ended
as
endorsement?
a person. Just endorsing him as a person. All right. This next thing is an ad I got on Instagram, and it's for an insect catching game. Let this play, please.
All right. There's a bug. There's 18 bugs. Got one.
And you click the bugs.
All right, you get the point. It's true brain rot shit.
It's true brain rot shit. The game is you cleaning up a computer person's room and pointing out the bugs. Like, our brains and bodies are very complex, perfect machines made by God. We have a destiny to fulfill. That's what, like, the burn deep in our souls comes from.
The indomitable human spirit, maybe.
And then they want to waste your brain power by picking out the cockroaches in a fake room for a computer person to clean the computer person's house.
It's like what an Alzheimer's patient needs to do to stay, like, semi-sharp. And instead, they're trying to get you to do it.
So that is like very, very bad stuff, guys. We can't have anyone who watches the show playing games like this.
Candy Crush is on that list. The lifeless, mindless games. Just read something.
Yeah.
Learn something.
Please. We cannot play that. It's meant to just soak up your brain power. Yeah. All right. Next, hot weather aesthetic.
Yeah. This says, I feel like we're losing the aesthetic of hot weather languor. The veranda, the julep, linen shirts unbuttoned at the bar, under the sleepy drone of the ceiling fans. It's supposed to be too hot to work.
It's not bad.
Yeah, you know, AC, air conditioning kind of took that. I don't think anybody's ever going to make that choice.
Yeah, but there's something to be said about this kind of Americana. All right, we have to move on. That's it. We have to move on. Trash can moving technique. Look at this, guys. When it's trash and recycling day, this is how you do both. Over the top, and then you lift the first one, and it lifts both.
Smart.
It's good for everyone to know that.
All right.
All right, next is a solar system model. This is a model about how our solar system works. So this is what they say is going on. God, don't you want to hold on? That doesn't ring true to me. We're just spinning like crazy through everything.
I believe it.
Doesn't seem right.
All right. Just cast out on the solar system principles of movement and gravity.
All right. Next thing, guys, calling into radio stations. We have a little bit of an arbitrage situation here, a little bit of like a investment opportunity, you could call it. Yeah. Radio stations now more than ever are getting no phone calls. So when they're giving stuff away, no one calls in. When I was a kid, it was caller 100.
Yeah.
Call in. Caller 100 gets the tickets or the $1,000 or whatever.
You'd call in and you get a busy line.
You'd never get through. I've only won a couple. Now, I heard the other day on the radio, caller number 9.
They're desperate.
There's no one calling.
It's pathetic.
So there's an easy opportunity. So if you guys do it, obviously get the prizes, call in. But if you shout out the podcast at the end, say, hey, one more thing. Can I shout out someone out? And they'll say, sure. They're happy to even have someone on the other end of the line. Then say, Fleckus Talks Podcast, best new podcast of all time. I'll send you pretty much everything from the merch store.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, remember, and then we're going to get into the rest of the show. Remember a few weeks ago, I mentioned how in my bones, in my DNA, there's something about running downhill that clicks with me.
Yeah.
Something that resonates in my bones.
And nobody believed you, right?
And no one believed me. Mm-hmm. I have another one of those things.
Okay.
And it just clicked for me over the weekend. Perpetual soups and perpetual stews.
Oh, okay.
There's something about them that I'm drawn to. The idea of a perpetual soup that you just like serve everyone all day and it gets down to like a third of what it was. Then you add 2/3 new ingredients and you start it all over the next day and it's like one constant soup.
Now that I believe.
There's something.
I believe you on that one.
My great-great-great-great-grandma was in charge of perpetual stew for the whole town.
All right. Hey, that one rings true to me. Running downhill with you? I don't know.
Not me, my ancestors.
All right. I actually have a piece of housekeeping.
Okay.
That you didn't know about.
Let me see if we have enough time. Yeah. we can. It has to be quick.
All right. This is just a quick little story. I was ordering pizza the other week, and I wanted some dessert. I said, I want a little treat at the end of this pizza. So I was on the phone, and I was like, all right, 1 large cheese, blah, blah, blah. And do you guys have any cannoli? And you know what the lady said to me back? Mm-hmm. She said, no, but we have stromboli. As if I was just going to order something that rhymed.
Yeah, I'm looking for something with an OLI ending.
So that was it. That's my piece of housekeeping.
No, but we have stromboli.
These people are brain dead.
Yeah, wow. All right, let's get into cringe. We have a great cringe of the week. Our first clip is the fat gay pig.
Oh, yeah.
Amore, dimmi, vedi quanto è venuto bello il ciambellone.
right, you get the point.
We get it.
It's another language.
The overarching theme, the reason to bring this up, fat and gay,
Tough combo.
Bad combo.
Yeah, you basically don't even survive.
You can be fat and strong.
Yep.
That's a good combo. I've been there.
That's okay.
You can be fat and sloppy.
Not a good combo.
Not a good combo.
But better than fat and gay.
The worst is fat and gay. And we're going to be fair here. There's something to be said. Gay guys tend to be fit.
Yeah.
So we're going to be fair, even though they're kind of our arch nemesises. It's kind of like when Trump and Hillary had the debate in 2016 and they said, say something nice about your opponent.
Yeah. They forced them to each say something nice.
What did they end up saying?
I think Hillary complimented Trump's children. Said all your children turned out to be nice.
That's pretty good. They shouldn't make them do that.
Yeah, I don't think they should do that.
They shouldn't do that.
They don't waste important debate time on say something nice about each other. But it's true that we're on the show, we're reality enjoyers.
Yeah.
And gay guys, although they have some very disgusting, there's no governors, there's a lot of monkeypox, there's all that type of shit. Gay guys do tend to care about their bodies and their fitness. And that's why being a fat gay pig
is the worst you can be.
It's kind of a death sentence, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next clip. The kid who can't drive.
We're gonna get off on this exit, okay?
This is horrible.
You're gonna just follow this lane. We're not switching. We're not doing anything. We're just following it. We're not gonna hit the cones. We're not gonna hit the barrels. We're gonna turn with the fucking thing. And stay in this lane right here. But there's like 3 lanes. The fuck? I'm pointing this way. What is that? It's like 5 lanes. Do you see where my finger is? We're gonna stop at the light, correct? Yes. Well, you're going kind of fast. You're not even curving with it. You're not curving. I don't know this road. You see the
I
lines?
don't know this road. Do you think he was just gonna happen for you?
I don't know. This guy's got no dog in him, no instinct, no just like intuition, and it tells me that he's never once paid attention in his life to what someone's doing while he was being driven.
Yeah.
Like he was just on his phone and was like, whatever, I just get there. I just get to the high school.
Yeah. And I bet now kids are probably not even in a rush to get their licenses anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's a stat I saw about that. So yeah, so my bigger theory here is that this kid can't figure it out because his parents, in an attempt to protect him as a child, did everything for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, which means like he needs protection because he's not capable, and ended up manifesting like him into that. Like it actually programmed him into being a non-capable person because the parents' biggest fear was, oh, he's not able to do it, I'll just do it for him. And then because of that over and over, the programming leads to the kid becoming someone who can't do anything because everything was done for him.
Yeah.
So like they're scared he's not capable. That's why they do it. And now he grows up to be a person who's not capable.
You put him in like a protective cocoon and then he couldn't see or figure out anything on his own. And now he's just going off a highway like this. Like at what point would you just go, oh, I'll just kind of split the difference and stay in here?
So, yeah, exactly. In an attempt to protect him because he's not capable actually made him the non-capable person.
And it's interesting because it's like you start every kid ever, did you do this? Starts in a parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid certainly did not graduate from the parking lot to be getting off a highway exit here. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have the opposite situation here with a kid driving.
Ansley.
Huh?
Ansley.
Yep.
Start turning hard left.
All right.
Other way. Other way. Turn hard.
I 20.
Perfect.
That's good. But if this was the other kid...
Doesn't know right or left. But like it doesn't matter. She can correct, right?
And she can learn it on the fly.
Yeah.
And eventually learn right or left from like firsthand experience.
Mm-hmm.
And now the kid's got the experience and is like better off. Like if that was the first kid's parents, they'd go, no, don't let him drive. He's too retarded to drive. He's too little. And then you become too retarded to drive.
I know. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It really is. But that kid who literally doesn't even know right from left, the parents are confident she can learn it on the fly. That's the difference.
That's nice.
All right, let's go to our next clip. This teacher who's saying it's justified to be anti-white.
You wrote, so if someone that isn't white hates on a white person based on their skin color, what do you call that? You're not going to like my answer. I call it justifiable. White-bodied people have conquered and colonized almost this entire planet. As a history teacher, I teach my students about the scramble for Africa, in which all of these European countries came together to decide which parts of Africa they were going to colonize. And then about the age of exploration, in which Europeans sailed over to the Western Hemisphere and committed genocide against any and every indigenous population they came across. And then I teach about the transatlantic slave trade, and then slavery, and then Jim Crow, and then the war on drugs, and then mass incarceration, and then about people that deny the experience of Black, brown, indigenous, and other people of color to this day. So you ask me...
So he brings up a lot about the slavery.
Yeah.
And my first thing here, whenever I hear people complain about the slave trade and how bad it was, I always wonder, why didn't the African Navy intercept the slave ships and stop it from happening?
That's crazy.
Yeah. Wouldn't that have helped if they just sent their Navy out and just said, hey, these are our waters, you're not coming here?
Yeah. Why didn't Africa do anything?
Why didn't Africa do that? And then not to mention the people selling the slaves many times were Africans, selling captured Africans from other tribes.
Of course.
So that's who was selling the slaves. And then another thing, which didn't get mentioned here, he's siding with the conquered over the conquerors.
Because that's virtuous or something. I don't really get why.
Yeah. And like he blames the conquerors over the conquered. I blame the conquered.
Me too.
Like if you got conquered at a time when things were kind of crazy and everything was up for grabs and someone with better technology and more advancements came and conquered your land, that's kind of on you.
You weren't ready to step up, right?
Exactly. And we're kind of getting conquered today with all these third world illegals here. And I have the same mindset of it's on us to stop it or else we're going to get conquered.
Exactly. And there's 51% of the population who's like, come conquer me. Like this is reparations now for brown and indigenous people everywhere. And so that's why we're losing, right? Because a certain percentage of our population is voting against our own interests.
That's a good point. So, and exactly. And everything goes back to slavery. Like slavery isn't why Demetrius is letting his Glock with the extended mag talk.
Yeah.
Or why he can't read at a certain grade level, you know, or playing the knockout game. It has nothing to do with slavery.
I know.
But here's your average Hollywood celebrity's view on slavery.
Societies like Koreans, they might have a God complex, but they don't have a history of oppressing another group of people.
Each other, right?
Are you out of your mind?
What the
what do you mean?
You don't think Asians they didn't oppress?
Koreans didn't have slaves. We didn't fly.
Did Koreans have slaves?
Korea had the longest unbroken chain of slavery of any society in history.
So, like, not only wrong, but the longest unbroken chain of slavery, dead opposite, right?
Exactly. But everyone thinks for some reason slavery was invented by like white hicks in the South.
And who were the only people who actually ended it.
Yeah.
At the same time, right?
Which is an interesting thing. And it makes you wonder, can we look this up? Let's look up, like, was it even a white thing? There's a video there. Let me click that.
Jewish historians record old Jewish documents showing how the slave trade was so thoroughly Jewish that slave auctions throughout the Americas had to close on Jewish holidays. Brazil received far more African slaves than North America. A. Witzner, another official of the Jewish Historical Society, in his book Jews in Colonial Brazil, pages 72 and 73, wrote, quote, "The buyers who appeared at the auctions were almost always Jews, and because of their lack of competitors, they could buy slaves at low prices. If it happened that the date of such an auction fell on a Jewish holiday, the auction had to be postponed." Studying the Jewish histories of the New World, I began to learn of a carefully recorded Jewish history that you and I are not permitted to know about. I discovered that many centuries before the transatlantic slave trade, that Jews had dominated the slave trade in the entire Western world for the last 2,000 years, even as far back as Roman times.
That's interesting.
Wow.
We need to look more into that.
Yeah. We'll do some research, I guess, on that. But
let us know in the comments if you've heard about that.
Blaming just white people in general, though. That's kind of what this history teacher's up to.
And that was a quick Google search we just did, but that video, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Jewish people were so involved in the slave trade.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That's weird. Candace had a tweet the other day, speaking of not knowing history. that kind of proved a point that we cover on the show a lot too, where people are just like, when they think of World War II, they just think of the Holocaust as like the only thing that ever happened. Check out this tweet from Candace.
She says, Americans know nothing about real history. Did you know that 12 million Germans were ethnically cleansed after World War II? Did you know 500,000 of them were murdered for the crime of speaking German? That children were lined up and shot? Quote, well over 2 million women and children were raped at the end of the war. Many of them died or killed themselves as a result. In Czechoslovakia, they lined German civilians up, many of whom had lived there for centuries, and ran over their legs with trucks. They forced them to dig their own graves. Not all of them were German. Some of them just spoke German. 12 million German civilians were expelled across Eastern Europe, forced stripped of their homes and property and citizenry for the crime of speaking German. Hundreds of thousands of them starved to death. This ethnic expulsion was the largest in human history, and yet you've never heard about it. Why? I encourage everyone to watch this documentary, and she linked the documentary.
Wow, that's interesting. Because whenever we hear about World War II, all we hear about is 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
That's like all any kid in school learns. That's like the number one thing everyone learns from World War II. But then you hear about more millions of Germans and all these other people died too, and it never gets mentioned.
Yeah, and the point of all this is the entire world, human history, is nasty, short, brutish. People are killing each other, slaughtering. It's a constant like fluid dynamics of power and oppression. But then the only one that matters is like how white people did it. Even though like we built this country, the result is like kind of righting our wrongs and building America, right?
Yeah.
And being like, okay, now we have the civil rights, and we're kind of on our way to all this good where, you know, we had the civil rights movement and all this stuff that kind of atoned for it. The Civil War and slavery is ended. But then it's like, no, you guys didn't do enough. You're the only bad people that have ever existed, right?
Mm-hmm. You invented slavery.
You invented slavery. And then they go, oh, should I Google Korean slavery? It's like, no, let's not Google it. So it's just insane. But, you know, the point is it's weaponized against certain people now, the oppression. Whereas, like, you know, the same thing with communism. How many millions of people died under communism because of mismanagement and starvation and, like, the loss of the incentive system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's just capitalism, white people in America right now.
Yeah.
That's evil.
Exactly. Well, let's move on. Don't get too down or too depressed. It's going to get a little bit worse. We're into urban decay now. Our first clip of urban decay is from an apartment complex shootout or shooting in Seattle.
I'll blow your mouth. Sound on. I'm going to jail. Sound on. I'm going to jail.
So this right here is where you need to be doing everything you can to run away. He's trying to shoot her again. The gun's jammed.
Bitch, you dead! Bitch, you dead!
And she starts yelling, bitch, you dead. Show watchers know how fast you got to get out of there.
Yeah, there's a certain thing where the door was open and then she turned around and went the other way, and it's like you need to be sprinting as hard as you can every little ounce of energy you have to get out of there. Like you don't give anybody a second chance to come and execute you,
Yeah,
right?
that was your chance to get out. I wouldn't even live in this place in the first place if I saw people in there listening to Trippie Redd or whatever they listen to.
Yeah, Sexy, what's her name?
Yeah.
Sexy Red too? Trippie Red and Sexy Red?
Are they both the same? They must be related.
Anything with red in the name, I'd stay away from. But yeah, this was in Seattle, and Rikisha was charged with murder in the first degree and assault in the second degree. She has a competency hearing today. And it's like, oh, she was competent when she pulled the trigger, so I don't exactly care about anything else, right?
Yeah. And then they might let her off for not being competent. And that's what happened in our next clip. A store clerk was shot and killed by a thief, a looter. And they're trying to, I think they let him off on self-defense because the store clerk tried to stop him from stealing, and they considered that a reason to defend yourself and shoot him.
Into the Sunoco Friday morning. The clerk walks in behind them. Surveillance shows one of the teens put a bag of chips in his pants. Both teens leave. The clerk walks out to confront them. The teens walk away. It's the last time we see them on surveillance.
He had his car keys in his hand, and he started yelling to them to come back.
Tough
He's
angle.
like, hey, hey. They initially looked back at him, and they flipped him off, and then they continued on their way. And he was saying, hey, again, hey, come back here. And then they started jogging.
The witness says the clerk followed the teens in his car.
He turned to kind of pull up beside them, and that's when I was up and I was turning the opposite way. Next thing you know, I heard 2 gunshots, and I looked back, and I could see the shooter firing more shots at the car.
He saw the teens run away in different directions. Rushing to help the clerk, he calls 911.
And I'm sitting there saying, hey, buddy, man, hey, dude, are you okay? So when I looked in through the window, he seemed to be unresponsive.
Community activist Quanell X says the shooter, 17-year-old Mario Young, and the second teen are claiming self-defense, saying the clerk had a gun.
Did you notice any guns or weapons inside the car?
I didn't see any guns. I didn't see a gun on the seat or next to him.
Self-defense.
Yeah.
Because the clerk tried to stop you, and then they said, oh, they thought he had a gun when the guy said he didn't see any guns. But Kyle Rittenhouse, that was an up for debate self-defense.
Yeah, that was open and closed case for the left, right?
Yeah, and everyone had their mindset. Everyone knew that Kyle Rittenhouse was guilty and he was a problem. And even though it was like the most blatant self-defense ever, the guy pulled a gun on him and people were attacking him.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't count. But when you rob a store and the clerk tries to stop you, that's the self-defense.
Yeah. And you go steal from a store on camera. Someone confronts you, you shoot them, they don't even have a gun. And then an activist will come out and kind of like support you and be like, no, this is the angle we're going with. It's self-defense.
Yeah, we're going to get you off.
Yeah.
It's like, well, isn't he the criminal that's like ruining our society and our community?
That's what I'm saying. And I think that's a bigger problem in the black community is that they rally around, like you said earlier, these criminals or the people like the criminals who got denied a job at Sheetz.
Yeah.
Those are the people who need help. Like, I don't understand why you're helping them. You should probably be doing a GoFundMe or a big community organization fundraiser for the guy who had a job and was trying to stop shoplifters on camera, right?
Exactly.
So where's he fall in all this? Where are the activists for that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any money in it.
Me neither. And when this continues to happen, the criminals get defended by the media every time they're a person of color.
Yeah.
So here we have some new euphemisms that just dropped, new names for black criminals. One here we have is asylum hopeful.
Failed asylum seeker, 40, who wore a sign saying migrants are not criminals, raped a 15-year-old girl after his deportation back to Africa, was blocked by do-gooder cabin crew.
Yeah.
So failed asylum seeker.
Failed asylum seeker. Let's go to the next one.
McDonald's worker, 15, left with fractured skull after massive goon stomps on her head.
Massive goon, there's one.
Massive goon is like a rap name. That's like Biggie Smalls, Massive Goon.
Yeah.
Linked up. Need it or keep it.
Yeah, keep going.
Woman lost in Birmingham, abducted and raped by church helper and friend.
That's interesting.
Church helper with a hard R at the end of helper. And then there was one madman randomly waxed 26-year-old woman with a hockey stick on New York City street. Madman.
And then someone called him Dwayne Gretzky.
Dwayne Gretzky. So that's our euphemism.
Those are our euphemisms from this week or the last couple weeks. And then I'm going to do one where we make up our own euphemisms.
Okay.
So here we have a clip of young outdoor enthusiasts on ATVs at our nation's capital.
Outdoor enthusiasts, there they are. Yeah. And here's a 6th grader on her class trip.
Outdoor enthusiasts on ATVs.
Yeah, extreme motorists. Dude, and that's the thing. Like this girl, the girl who posted this video said they were on like their 6th grade trip, and this is what's waiting for you at the Capitol: carjackings, ATV crowd, unruly teens.
Yeah, it's a good sign of the times, though. That is what the nation's capital looks like. You're getting you're getting the experience.
It's accurate. They can't hide it, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get out of urban. Don't get too down or too depressed. We're going on to uplifting gold. Life is worth living. Let's go first to the de-escalation with a gun. A guy in traffic in Houston gets a machete pulled on him, and then he pulls a gun, and that de-escalates.
¿Qué harías en una situación así?
Uh-oh, you're in trouble.
It's a big sword, and then...
He's got a gun. And then you're back in your car, dog.
Rock beats paper. or whatever.
Yep.
No.
There we go.
And you know what? Do you think the Salvadorian would have been very friendly if the guy didn't have a gun? You think that giant machete thing wasn't getting used?
Yeah.
If it wasn't de-escalated forcibly? So,
and keep in mind, like that in that interaction right there, that doesn't get presented in any gun stats. It's not a murder. It's not a self-defense murder. It's not shooting someone to blah, blah, blah. There's no police report from that incident, but there was a de-escalation where someone was their lives were threatened.
Absolutely.
And then it didn't happen because the other guy had a gun. That happens a lot, and it doesn't get reported in stats.
That's a very good point, actually. You never make those.
Yeah, actually. Actually, I'm surprised.
I'm surprised you thought that out. Did Memetic Sisyphus DM you about that?
No, you're a perpetual stew. Stew's short for stupid.
That is you.
You're a perpetual stew. All right. I'm bringing the knee up. It's hot in here. Guys, I don't know if you noticed, we have no AC in the studio the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Look how red Richard is.
Well, that's sunburn. That's sunburn from the beach.
It really is sweaty in here. And we're at the end of the show, so we can kind of let loose a little bit, but it's probably 90-something degrees in the studio.
The non-uplifting gold of the week is we've had the AC guy come and visit and like half fix it for 3 times.
And he fixes it for like the time he's here, and then he leaves and it breaks.
He leaves and it turns off, and then we come back and it's 80 degrees. We come back from like going somewhere and it's like, oh, it's broken again. Have to contact the people again.
It's the worst.
So, yeah.
All right, let's go to the man on the street interview. This is funny.
How many states make up the USA?
3.
Correct. Right on the money. Could you name me your 3 favorite black people, anyone in the world?
African people and American people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know, like Cuban is black people.
Yeah, perfect. And then what % of America might be black?
Maybe black or is black?
Is black.
He got him there.
Come on, I forgot his name. I know, almost there, but I forgot the name.
That's okay. Next.
All right, so this guy right here, remember the Indian guy who was getting all the free food earlier in the episode?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, guys, I make $100,000 a year, and you can get free food here. That's pasta and basics. That needs to go to this guy. He's 4'11", and he thinks there's 3 states. And you're the Indian guy hogging up all those resources? Like, here's the guy who needs it, right?
Does this guy have a job, you think?
Maybe he's a helper, or he's like a Beetlejuice type job.
Yeah.
Like where
he's on a radio show.
Yeah, he helps people sit down at the church or something. You know?
That is pretty good.
But that's who probably does really need the food bank. Not the fat Indian guy with a job who's telling all his friends how they can also get free food, right?
Good point.
All
right, let's go to our next clip. The piranha being used as a zip tie snipper. That's fast.
That's a life hack.
Zip ties are strong plastic, and those teeth went right through it.
Yeah.
That's important to know.
You know the meme, like when you were a kid, I thought I was going to be dealing with quicksand a lot more.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have way more interaction with piranhas than I do.
If you go in the water, the piranhas turn you to bones.
I know.
That's what I thought.
That's what I was sold, but apparently that's just a movie thing.
I guess not. All right, let's go to the hibachi catcher.
Keep testing him. He's saying stop. Hey,
that's good action.
You know what that guy did when he was 15? He drove in the lines.
Yeah.
He had that instinct, that dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't scare his dad.
Good American man.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the kid who can dunk.
You 360 dunk.
Yeah, 8 feet in the air because I jumped high.
I believe you, man.
I gave all my effort.
I believe you, man. Because
That's good. That's a good confidence. Gonna keep all of my effort.
Kids just lie, you know?
And then, yeah, that's a good point. But that, I like that kind of energy.
Me too. Delusional. Be delusional.
Exactly. All right. Our last clip is kind of a health tip about peanut butter.
Okay.
Well, let's let it rip and we'll end the show on this.
Hey guys, to let you know that we need peanut butter. Peanut butter has protein in it. Because we all need protein, right? We need to eat lots of peanut butter. Because they come in a different shape and sizes. As you know, with the peanut butter, is my weakness.
That's a good point.
He's not wrong.
Well, hey, protein is more important than a lot of other things. Everyone thinks that fat is bad or whatever. Protein and fat from peanut butter is good.
You need to be buying the peanut butter that's just like one ingredient, though. Peanuts.
Yeah, that's it.
And then the oil's kind of sitting on the top, and it's not as good as Skippy or Jif, but it's not with fake seed oil nonsense, right?
Exactly. That's true. Well,
that's the part he didn't say that we follow up on.
Yeah, that's the
high
point.
in protein.
We need to be eating a lot of peanut butter. That's a good tip. Yeah. And that's the end of the show. Thank you guys for watching. Another Fleckus Talks in the books. Episode 164.
Crazy.
A lot. If you're still watching at this point and you're not a member of Bonus Land, it's time for that to change. Join Bonus Land right now. FleckusTalks.com is the website. It's only a few bucks a month, and you get an extra 30-minute episode after every episode.
There you go.
A lot of watching. So get over there now. We'll see you at Bonus Land. If not, we'll see you Friday.
Need that protein. So everybody, please eat peanut butter.